sorry, I will do
That's okay, no problem.
No, that's very appropriate.
I just want to ask you about like what you are seeing in Chicago in terms of organizing, and obviously our mayor is a member of yours and part of a longer movement, and I'm curious to know, how do you think he's doing in his first year in office?
Look, every new mayor has huge aspirations, and then they confront reality. And there's always ups and downs. And I think he's doing amazingly well. The issue becomes, when you have a crisis, how do you deal with it? How do you pull people together? How do you solve a crisis? And I just want to reflect on what we just saw with the mayor in a circle with students, and that real conversation. That's what Americans need. That's what people in Chicago need. That's what kids need. They need for their public officials to give a damn about them.
That's right.
And that is what this mayor does.
Stacy, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask about a question about a bill that's moving in Springfield, House Bill 303. This is a bill that would prevent some changes at selective enrollment schools, and as of yesterday, also extend the moratorium to 2027, the moratorium on school closures. Wondering if you support that bill, both aspects? Okay.
I don't support the bill because the bill is addressing an issue that does not exist. Let's just start there. There was a resolution that said that the Chicago Board of Education was going to finally prioritize Collins High School, the Collins High School, right? That's what we heard in there today. And then you get a bill that says you can't do that. Because that's what that bill effectively says. It says we in Springfield only want to protect these two handfuls of schools in Chicago. Now, they didn't say that they're going to provide transportation, because the black children that go to those schools don't even have transportation to get to those schools, right? Special education students and selective enrollment students don't have buses to get to school. And yet, the thing that they are concentrating on in Springfield is the thing that doesn't even exist, instead of grappling with the thing that we need them to grapple with. The young people in that room just told you that they need more. Every single young person in that room said more. Do you hear what I'm saying? Margaret Croak said less. That's what that bill, and every legislator that votes affirmatively on that bill just told those kids that they can't have more. They also told the black children who get selected to go to one of those selective enrollment schools that you can go, but we can't get you to those schools. There are so many things wrong with that bill until it's an abomination that we're even discussing this bill. Why are we discussing a bill that solves no problems? Why are we discussing a bill that only exacerbates the disparities that we're experiencing on the west side and the south side of Chicago, on the southwest side and the southeast side, where, by the way, the roof is collapsing in on George Washington? I find it very curious that a bill like this can move that fast. And I'm wondering why the schools that enroll white children at a higher clip than neighborhood schools is getting that. What is that about? No one has been able to ask that question and get an answer, and I still don't know an answer. But I will tell you that voting for that bill means that the children in this school that just told us very clearly that they need more will result in them getting less. The other impact is you can invite people from all over this city to go into a selective enrollment school, but they can't get there because Springfield won't send enough money to Chicago to fund transportation. So is this them trying to give us the okie doke? Pay attention to something that's not real, so we won't pay attention to the money that we won't be sending to Chicago this year? This is cynical. And it's going to have negative impact on all those beautiful faces in that room who are begging for more.
Wow. Is that what you were going to ask?
Yeah.
I know I did ask a double barrel, but they last night did add the moratorium extension to.
It's all silly.
Okay.
It is all very silly. It is disengaged. It is not responsive. It is irresponsible. You are going to give people who already have less, even more so. Like, how do accountable people who call themselves public servants address that room, right? Everyone who votes for that bill needs to go into that room and engage with the same group of students that we just got done engaging on and explain to them why they cannot have more. I'm not doing the explaining. They should do the explaining. This is insidious. This is ridiculous. This is vapid. And I think we sent out something that says that this is going to have racial disparate impact, which makes it a racist bill.
I heard you say that contract talks also haven't begun, or the conversation hasn't fully begun.
We are setting up the terms of engagement. Look, this is a brand new format to bargaining. I'm going to tell you the 12, 16, 19, those are the 3 contracts that I've had involvement with at varying levels, of course, 19 being the most intense. We don't want that level of negative intensity, which also makes this bill ridiculous, because what it does is that it shifts budget cuts to all of the schools except the selective enrollment schools. So how do you get fall, winter, spring sports in schools across the city? How do you get fall sports? The only thing that legislators in Springfield should be dealing with is how do they fund the formula? That's it. Because you can't tell us what to do with what you don't send us. And here's the other thing that's insidious. Last year, the State Board of Education began to deduct money from the allotment that we received from Springfield because they said that they were overpaying us previously. So how do you deduct from something you ain't gave us? Think about that. Do you get your check? You think about it. They said, ooh, we made a mistake. But your check was already short? So whose mistake is it?
I want to ask about open bargaining for the other leaders. Are there other districts? Well, I know that's a request you've made, but Randy, Dan, what other districts do that? I mean, public bargaining, that's pretty unique. How does it work? Is it
It's actually not,
effective?
I mean, it's innovative. It's not unique. But what it is it's a show of values. There's a lot of states that actually require open bargaining. But what I think the CTU is doing right now, if I may, is that they are walking their values. Even what you just saw here in terms of community schools and sustainable community schools. In 2008, just like G2 in 1998, in 2008, I talked about how we needed to have more sustainable community schools. And over the course of time, it's been really hard unless you actually make it a real demand from the community, from the workers, and the administration sees it and accepts it, to actually get to sustainable community schools. So in 2019, it was a real demand of the union. What you heard today with the young people was a sustainable community school could actually serve as the infrastructure, the hub, to do a lot of things that a neighborhood needs, to do a lot of things that kids need. So here you have the Chicago Teachers Union saying, let's make this a sustainable community school district. And how do you create that? And so having open bargaining says, we're not afraid of having that give and take with the community. We're not afraid of everybody seeing. We are creating trust with the community, an agency within the community, because we're one. So it's innovative, and it's particularly innovative when a union steps forward and says, I want to do it.
I would just want to add to what Stacy said about HB 303, because it isn't just, and it shouldn't be just on the Chicago Teachers Union to say we need more resources for our schools. And you're right, she's right. This whole thing's gotten sort of flipped around. We're $4 billion with a B dollars short of fully funding K-12 education in this state. That means at least $1 billion in Chicago. Those kids at Collins High School, the mayor asked them, what do you need? What do you need? Open-ended question. What did they say? Without coaching, they said, we need more resources. We're concerned about college. We're concerned about career. We need more programs. What about athletics? These are the things that kids have in other parts of the city, by the way. The disparities aren't just statewide. They're gross inequities within the city. What we need, and what I would ask Representative Croak and the supporters of that bill to do, is forget the rearranging deck chairs. Let's concentrate on getting the resources our kids need everywhere in the city and everywhere in the state. That's what equity looks like.
No one's saying that you don't have different kinds of high schools, whether they're called selective or magnet or career tech ed. This is about leveling up. And the one thing you can't do in a situation right now is you can't say, I'm saving X, and everybody else loses. Because, and so what the Chicago School Board is doing, what the union is doing, what the mayor is doing is saying, how do we help all kids, every single one of our kids, have success? And you don't do it by basically saying, we're insulating one group of a limited number of schools, and the rest of you fend for yourselves. And that's what you're hearing from all of us. We want every single public school to be a place where parents want to send their kids, where educators want to work, and where kids thrive. But that means you got to get to the money that's owed to actually make that happen, to do the work that those kids just told us that they want and need.
Sorry,
I know.
Randy. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you all. Thanks very much.
Yeah.